Barakatah Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Chakudash. Welcome to another live lesson. It's just going to be something a little quick because I got to get ready for camp. No, spirit didn't really hit me earlier, so I didn't do anything. But right now, as I'm waiting to go to camp, I was watching the brother from GMS Italia, and pretty much he was going into how, the Jakes over there, they have Hamites that come into that country that get put over them, because these devils know exactly who the Israelites are. That's why the name of the title is they know, make no mistake, they know who we are. I was going to put know exactly who we are, but I didn't know if it was going to be too long. So make no mistakes, they know exactly who we are. There's a story that goes back to 1 West. I wasn't there, but I heard it a few times, and I believe it to be so. I'm not sure if that was on 44th and Broadway, where they used to speak at, or if it was in another spot, but I believe it was in Manhattan. There was this black limousine that pulled up. I've heard, it said that it was only one Edomite that jumped out and looked at the 12 tribe sign, but then I think I heard another time where they said it was 2 of them, so I'm not really sure if it was 1 or 2, but one of them jumped out and read the 12 tribe sign, one by one, and when he finished, he looked up at the speaker. I'm not sure if that was High Priest Ariad I was speaking at the time, and he said, "How did you guys find this out? We spent millions of dollars covering this up." And I believe that to be so, because these devils know who we are. They know who we are, and this is why when we read Psalms 83, which we're going to read a few verses here, this is pretty much the sentiment among these nations. When we were in hardcore captivity, when we were getting our asses kicked by Esau over here in the so-called Americas, and the Southern Kingdom was brought over here to serve captivity, there was no nation out there that was, extending a hand of consolation out. There were no one was protesting slavery. Everyone was benefiting off of slavery. You didn't have the other nations, marching, saying we gotta free, these Israelites, because they know who we are, especially the higher ups, from their situation. There was not a peep or a mutter from these nations, and in fact, these nations were happy. This is why whenever Jake goes anywhere on the planet, scriptures say, "Cursed shall thou be in the field." The field represents the world. So no matter where Jake is at on the planet, no matter what country, city, state, or whatever the case may be, they always have a hard way to go, because at the end of the day, they know that we're the Israelites, right? So we're going to start in the book of Psalms 83 and 1. It says, "Keep not thou silence, O Most High, hide not thy peace, and be not still, O power." Why? Because these nations are silent when it comes to our plight, our situation, the things that we go through, the hardships that we deal with, the injustices that we deal with. And no nation is jumping up speaking against these devils. They pretty much wasn't doing it back then. Now in these times you have certain ones of them that are speaking out that look like Edomites, but they could be Jakes. They may very well be Israelites that are compelled to do that because of who they are in the spirit. But you have a lot of ignorance out there, to where if you see somebody that looks white, you automatically think they're white before you even engage the person or talk to the person. And it goes for all of us, because your first instinct is when you see somebody that looks like a so-called white person or looks like a so-called black person, you automatically think that that's what they are, until you engage them and you feel their spirit out, and then something either strange about this individual, or there's something kind of cool about this individual. His mannerisms and the way he moves and he acts and the way he talks, You know, that he might just be an Israelite, even though he has blonde hair and blue eyes. But you have a lot of ignorance out there, seared, utter ignorance that's out there among these Israelites, especially ones that are awoke concerning this matter. You know, but then if somebody comes up that's jet black, you know, meaning very dark brown, and they say a shalom or whatever, they quickly accept him because of the way he looks. You know, they're not judging the spirit, they're judging the outward appearance, which the scriptures speak against that. So when we go to Habakkuk 1 and 4, it says, therefore the law is slacked. Right. Why is the law slacked? Because the people that are in power, the Edomites, are not concerned with our well-being. They're not concerned with us getting a fair shake. All they're concerned with is them, making sure that they're taken care of. Fuck everybody else, especially the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. And judgment doth never go forth. Why? Why doesn't judgment ever go forth? For the wicked doth compass about the righteous. See? Because they're in power right now. They're in the top position. So, since the wicked are in power, it says, therefore, wrong judgment proceedeth. So they're always constantly looking down upon us. Matter of fact, in the book of Psalms, the 62nd chapter, I believe it is. Bear with me 1 second. The 62nd chapter, it says in the 4th verse, they only consult to cast him down from his excellency. They delight in lies. They bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly. Selah. And the word Selah means to pause. So that's a whole mouthful that the psalmist said, which is King David. It was so profound that he had to say pause. For what? For the purpose of taking what was just said in. This is why the scriptures say that when you read these things, you have to ponder these things. There's a lot of heavy things that are said within the scriptures. You know? It says, and you have to be spiritually discerned to be able to see that. It says they only consult to cast him down from his excellency, because they know that once Jake gets involved in something, what do? They excel, and they make every other nation look bad because of that godlike status being still in a low condition. You know, this is why years ago I remember there was this Jake that was playing hockey. This goes way back. I'm not even sure what year it was. And you know, he was doing good, and I think one of the Edomites clocked him in the head with a hockey stick, and I think that fucked him up. You know, because they were like, nah, fuck that. You took over baseball, you took over basketball, you took over football, you took over this, you took over that. I'll be damned if you're gonna take over, you know, hockey. You know, this is the sentiment of these devils. It says, they delight in lies. Right, they delight in lies. They bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly. Selah. So take a pause on that, because they're saying one thing out of their mouth. No, I have black friends. I have this, that, and the other. Everybody should get a fair shake. We love everybody. But really, inwardly, they like, you know, the hell with y'all. You know, everything that they're saying is the total opposite. What they're saying out their mouth is not what's going through their mind. Because at the end of the day, if that was the case, they would not try to push that plantation Christianity / Renaissance Christianity on Jake anymore. They would acknowledge and admit, which they're not going to admit, that all Christianity in today's term is nothing more than a white supremacist religion used to keep everybody else underneath them. So it goes on to say in Psalms 83, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult. What is a tumult? It's a big, it's a chaotic noise from multitudes of people coming together. You know, the talking, and you know, like when you go someplace and you go inside of a building or you go anywhere and you hear people talking, their voices carry, and you can hear their voices up like in the ceiling. You know, I hope I ain't sounding bugged out, because this happened before. And that they speaking, you can't really understand what they're saying, because there's so many people speaking at once, but you can hear their voices. That's like a tumult. You know, that's all them different voices speaking, even though you can't understand. Everyone has, you know, an understanding of what they're saying, and the other person is receiving it. So that tumult is a great conspiracy of all these nations coming together with the same mindset. This multitude of nations coming together with the same mindset. It says, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head, right? Because they were down, and because we went off, the Lord said that we would be the tail and they should be the head. It said they have taken crafty counsel against thy people. So they've taken a crafty counsel against thy people. Why? Because they're in power, they're in authority, they own the money, they own everything, they own the newspapers and all that, they own the influence and the teachings that go out. This is why you had boarding schools where they sent Gad, you know, the children, to strip them of their native culture, their native language, make them speak English, cut their hair, you know, make them wear the white man's attire. And today you Jakes wear it, you know, like it's nothing. But back then it was something that they forced upon us. You know, the suit and tie, you know, with Bell's Winky, which is the tie. You know, the way Esau portrays himself in politics or whatever, CEOs with the, you know, with the so-called sharp dress, with the shoes and all that. That's Edomite stuff that they pushed upon us, and Jake took it to the next level. Right? So it says they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. And how are we the hidden ones? Because we are the sons of the Most High. But they make us feel, look, and portrayed as beasts, as animals. And in a lot of cases, you have a lot of Jakes out there that are nothing more than beasts and animals. But that's not who we are. This is the direct effect of the conditions that we were subjected to because of the curses and because of the individuals that were above us that are in rulership that pushed that upon us. You see? It says, hey, you got to listen to the Spirit, man. I just want to say that you got to listen to the Spirit. When the Spirit is telling you something, you have to listen. Because when you don't listen, this is where problems come in. You know, this is outside of the lesson. You have to listen to the Spirit. When you in a situation or you going somewhere, you're doing something, and the Spirit tell you, leave from that place, leave from that place. Don't be hard-headed. Although we all have those moments where we be hard-headed, don't listen, and then it comes back to bite us in the ass and we get mad. When the Spirit speaking and telling you things and guiding you, listen. That's just a side note. So let's go back. They have consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. All right? This is why they put their names upon us. Blacks, Latinos, you know, Puerto Rican, Jamaican, you know, Haitian, Dominican, all of those names, Mexican, you know, just different names that they put upon us to bring us further and further away from that connection with our power. You know? It says that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So do you know what that means? Because what does that mean? Does that mean that, okay, the name Israel, we're going to scratch it off, just like they did the 9th Legion in the movie The Eagle? They scratched it off the record so that no one else would know about that legion, or that no one in the world would know about the name of Israel? No. Why? Because you still have the country over there, which is called Israel. You still have people around the world that are proclaimed to be the people. So what does it mean, you know, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance? Meaning no more in remembrance amongst us, the true Israelites. All right? That's what it means. Now, when we go real quick to the Apocrypha, and this is why it's so beautiful that the Spirit of the Lord, damn, it went right to it, that the Spirit of the Lord hop heavy on Elder Abba Bivens. Back then he was called Rabbi Abba Bivens. You know, it hopped heavy on him to teach and say the things that he did, to go into the New Testament, to raise up and teach men, and eventually on his deathbed to call the men who were supposed to continue with that message, so that the Lord can use that all the way up until this very day, 2022, the year of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai turning up, and this word is on fire. This word is on fire, man. You can't stop this word. You goddamn Edomites. This is the juggernaut, bitch. This word is going. You can't stop it. This fire is roaring hot. And there ain't a goddamn thing you could do to stop it. If he was to wipe all of us out today, the Lord will raise up stones, pine cones, grass, anything to teach his word. Because it's already rolling, man. It's like that locomotive train coming hot down the tracks. Ain't no stopping it. Ain't no stopping us. No stopping. All right, so let's go to Baruch chapter 2, verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. So we pretty much received what? A punishment for the wickedness that we did. But now it's time for that punishment to be up. But in the land of their captivity, they shall remember themselves. Why? Because we lost that science. We lost that knowledge. It was beaten out of us. It was separated from our memory through generations after generation after generation. This is why they would separate the families from, the children from the parents. Because they knew that the younger ones they could influence in their ways. And they had the Bible, train up a child in the way he should go. So they used that against us. To the point where it came to where we had no clue or anything what the hell we were. To the point where Judah, just dealing with Judah alone, went from being vicious, fierce warriors to suckers, man. Yes, the boss. Here it is, this big strapping 350-pound muscle on top of muscle, got muscles on his temple, muscles on his eyebrow, his eyelashes do curls. His mustache, if he has one, has muscles on it. But yet, he's being docile to this weak, frail-ass goddamn Edomite. This is what we've been reduced to. So now in these times, the Lord is bringing us back to bringing back into our memory that we are the Israelites. Do you know what that means? That means Yasha Allah. Yahib, Shar, Prince, Allah, God. We are the princes of the God, Prince of God, princes of the Most High, the people of the Most High, the highest exalted peoples on the planet that everyone else wants to be like, even in our low state. But they can't achieve that because they're not the sons of the Most High. So what they do, they strip us of our nationality, they strip us of our identity, they strip us of our freedom, they strip us of our dignity, and reduce us down to peasants, just like the scripture said. We would be a proverb among these nations, and a proverb, yeah, and a byword. Niggas, spick, spook, wetback, tonto, so on and so forth. Man, we got brought down real low. But now we remembering ourselves, and shall know that I am the Lord, their power, for I will give them an heart and ears to hear. Right, the Lord is going to open up our minds and our hearts to understand this. Not all Israel, but certain Israelites. Because the Most High has a plan. Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai has a plan. And they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. Why? Because the Lord is going to bring it back to our remembrance. Excuse me. It says, and return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers. Why? Because we lost it, which sinned before the Lord. Let's go real quick to Jeremiah 6. Unfortunately, I gotta close it soon. See, if I were to listen to the Spirit earlier, you know, this is why I'm telling you, brothers, man. I'm telling you from experience. Time and time again, when we don't listen, we always, end up paying the consequences. Consequences. Jeremiah 6:16. Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways, and see and ask for the old paths. See? Stand in the ways, ask for the old paths. What old paths? The old paths of the truth in the scriptures. Why? Because this belongs to us. This is speaking about us. This is written by us, for us, by the different prophets that the Lord inspired. And the message in here is for us. Jeremiah chapter 8, verse 8. For inquire, I pray thee. Matter of fact, let's start at 7. Though thy beginning was small, yet thy latter end should be greatly increased. This is why it's important to know where you come from so that you can know where you're going. For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age. The former age, back in the days. And prepare thyself to the search of their fathers. Why? For we are but of yesterday and know nothing, because our days upon the earth are shadow. Shall not they teach thee? Teach us what? Of who we were, what our purpose was, what our purpose will be, what our latter end will be, the greatness of our latter end. It says, and tell thee and utter words out of their hearts. Right, because this is, where we get that inspiration from. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, to bring us back to the greatness of our beginnings. And to bring us to the greatness of our future. So back in Psalms 83 and 4, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. So we know that if we type in the word Israel, you're going to get all kind of information on it. The land, the people, it's going to bring you back to the Israelites in the Bible and all that. But guess what? It's not a remembrance among our people that we are those people. Because when you think about the small hats or the people of God, people picture those people that are over there. But that's not the case. Those are the Edomites. That's the chief house of Esau, which is Amalek. So it says, for they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. So this is a grand conspiracy on a worldwide scale against our people. And we suffered the consequences of what? The loss of our identity. Having others take on our identity, just like they've tried to do many times in the past. Those transplants that were brought into the land of Samaria and those regions there, to this very day, the Edomites. And even Eustace Mullins, he called them Turco-Edomites. Even in their own encyclopedias, they say that they come out of Esau. But for some reason, when we bring it out, out of the scriptures, your videos get canceled. You call it an anti-ass. You know what I want to say. It says the tabernacles of Edom, number one on the list, the Edomites. Why? Because Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And Esau knows that if he can get rid of the Israelites, he thinks he can get his birthright back. But you are wrong. You are real wrong. You are wrong, Leonidas. You are wrong. And the Ishmaelites, so-called Arabs, and here it is, you Israelites, you try to bend over backward to become a Muslim. And here it is, they are some of your arch enemies that have helped keep you down. That have some of you out there believing that you're Moabites. The Moors, thinking that they come from Moab. But then it goes on to say, of Moab. So Moab was one of the conspirators in hiding our identity. Think about it. And the Hagarenes, and Gebal, and Ammon. The Ammonites are the so-called Japanese. And Amalek, which is the chief house of Esau. And they're a separate, special kind of devil themselves. You have Agag, the king. You have Haman, vocab, the layman. All with the intentions of continuously keeping us blind. It says the Philistines, which are so-called Egyptians, with the inhabitants of Tyre, more Hamites. Because the original inhabitants of Tyre, Sidon, and all those lands, they were Hamites, Canaanites. The Ishmaelites today, they have control over that, because when you go back to the 600s, from that point on, that's when Ishmael took over, the so-called known world, as they call it. That's why you have from Egypt all the way up in them different regions, they have so-called Egyptian names or Arab names, because the Ishmaelites took over that during the time after Muhammad. They were used by the Roman Catholic Church to seize Jerusalem, but once they got Jerusalem, they bought the lie that Allah was with them, and guess what? This is what you have today. So it says, Ashur, which are Syrians, also is joined with them. They have helped the children of Lot. Who are the children of Lot? The Ammonites and the Moabites. So all of these nations are in cahoots. Then it says, Selah. Pause again. Because a lot of you think that these nations are your friends. These nations are not your friends. They are the enemy. All right? So I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to close it out there. But make no mistake that they know exactly who we are. They know that we're the Israelites. And Barakatah Yahweh Bashem Yahushua for giving me the inspiration for this lesson. And to the acknowledgement, of when we falter, when the Lord, give us the mind to where, when we make a mistake, we're able to correct it. Barakatah Yahweh Bashem Yahushua for that. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters were edified. Till the next time I say Shalom.